There we go.
And we are on. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Masters of YouTube live stream for the month of April 2022. I am Heather, aka Running Geek Girl, and we are super glad you are here. If you are watching in the chat right now, then why don't you drop a note in the chat and let us know where you are watching from. You can also feel free to drop any questions that you have for us here in the live stream, and we will do our best to answer those as they come in. We are just super glad that you are here. For those of you who are joining me for the first time on my channel, then hello, my name is Running Geek Girl, and I do a lot of videos just kind of about my own particular running journey, going from avoiding all kinds of physical activity into working up to running about 7 years, starting about 7 years ago, and recently did a couple of marathons and my first ultra marathon. So it's been a journey, that's for sure. And then I also have some extra stuff on my channel, product reviews, book reviews, looks at races in other states, and so on and so forth. You'll see that we have here the other Masters of YouTube, and we are missing one tonight. Unfortunately, Susie at I Run Things was not able to make it due to some technical difficulties on her end, but she will try and drop in if she gets any kind of working internet restored on her end. And if not, then we will see her at our next monthly live stream. But I'm going to turn things over to Paul right now, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself and his channel.
Cool. My name is Paul. I am on YouTube as Dev Runner. Dev Runner, that's it. And let's see, I am an RRCA certified running coach. I am also a long distance road running addict. I have just recently finished two marathons, one in December, one 3 weeks ago. And since then, I've been doing everything but running regularly. I started trying to train for like a 1 mile PR, which is like a series that's going on my channel right now. But I'm 2.5 weeks in, and my left ankle is like, I can run on it if I run on it every second day. But every time I go out there, like last week, I went for 4 days in a row, and everything seemed fine when I was out there running, no pain at all. But afterwards was an utterly different story. So I'm trying to lay off a little bit more. My channel will be presenting more sort of information to help you as a runner, but it's not going to help me until I'm feeling a little better. But that's me in a nutshell. You can also find me on Instagram as the Dev Runner, and I'm on Strava as well.
All right. And Brian, tell us about yourself and your channel.
What's up? I am Rosser from Rosser Runs, across all platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I run pretty far. I'm the ultra run. No, I'm not the ultra runner anymore of the group. Yeah.
You run a lot farther than I do, though.
I run far because I like to do stupid things. Most of my channels, cross-platform each other, but I do a lot of vertical stuff now on TikTok because it's easier for me to do with the way my lifestyle is. And I run a few series on the YouTubes. Just started back training for World's End 100K, which is in June, and it is 51 days away. And I just I started training. I would say last month I started training on a soft relaunch due to injuries, and this week already I have 40 miles in, and I took a rest day today because storms going through. Lightning and safety is like a big thing. But I already have 40 miles in this week, and I've been averaging about 7 miles a day. And Saturday I have a huge run at World's End. We're doing about 15 or 20 in the mountains. We're looking about like 3,000 to 4,000 feet of gain. So like I'm testing the waters on that, but my long form videos on YouTube, like they're starting to reflow again. Then I do like same thing, product reviews and a lot of like tech stuff and just dumb stuff, having fun. And that's me in a nutshell. I'm a dumb long distance runner.
I beg to differ. But
It kind of sounds like a lot of us are kind of taking it easy lately due to one thing or another.
Yeah,
Sort of-
I'm forced into certain directions because my crazies and stuff like that. So I set up generic guideline schedules, and I try to stay to the guidelines. So I know Paul and like marathon people are like tailored to like, well, Tuesday I'm going to be running like intervals or whatever.
Right.
Mine is, hey, I don't feel like getting out of bed, and I'm forced myself to move. And once I move, things are, 5% better then.
Right.
And every day is a little bit better. So that's how I handle my training. So certain days I'll just go out for a 2 to 3 mile run, and it ends up to be like 8 or 9. And I just go with the flow.
Awesome.
I noticed that towards the tail end of my training, I would go out for about an hour run and be out there for, an hour and a half to 2 hours. Cause I'm like, well, I'm moving forward, just might as well, as long as I'm out.
Yeah, there's certain times that I don't get lubed up until after the thought of like, I was only going out for 3 miles or 4 miles. And like, I just start like moving well at like that point. And it's like, let me go find a hill and run it.
That's why I always tell people, if you just go out for 10 minutes, see how you feel after 10 minutes. And if it's still feeling terrible, go home.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
A lot of times after 10 minutes, it's like, I can do this. I can do a little more.
Exactly. Even on great days when you're just feeling great, it still takes a little while to sort of like Brian was saying, it takes a little while to get those juices flowing. Hey Ryan, by the way.
It's never till after like a mile and a half, something like that I start going, oh, okay, yeah, I can do this.
Yep. I noticed it used to be a mile back 10 years ago, and now it's a mile and a half to 2 miles before I start feeling good.
Mine's way further than that.
Because you run further.
I don't get warmed up until like, mile 5 to 7 or so. And that sucks during races because doing like a 50 mile or 100K, you're like mile 7 to like 11 in, and you're like, I'm going for my A goal. I get the podium, and then you fry yourself out and screw yourself because you're like starting to get the runner's high and things are starting to move in your direction, starting to warm up. Yeah. That's what happens to me.
Yeah, I envy you guys. I mean, now that I'm surrounded on either side by ultra runners, and I'm just a mere 26 points. He thinks he's something.
Yeah, slow down, go further.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know if I could do more than 50K, but I did it. I did it at least once, so there is that.
You definitely can. If you didn't pass out during it multiple times, and I don't watch your video, you didn't throw up, right?
Nope.
Well, then you didn't run hard enough. You have to add that to the checkbox when somebody's like, did you puke? Yeah. And then, so you have to go.
There were a couple of times I wanted to, and I was like, no, I got this.
Yeah. So now you have to challenge yourself to go further.
I know. Everybody's already asking me, okay, so 50 mile or win. And I'm like,
yep. That's how it starts, though. Hey, I ran a 5K this weekend. I ran a half marathon this weekend, and then you're like, I just ran a marathon, and then it rolls and rolls until you break.
I've had several people be like, you could do 50. I'm like, at that 50K, the 50 milers were just like flying past me. I'm like, I do not know how they do that. That's ridiculous. I'm like, you did 20 more miles than I did.
Do you know how many people are saying that about you, though, at the distance that you just did? Marathon people, maybe?
Yeah.
Those 50K people, I can't believe they went that far, like everything that we do is dumb.
Yeah.
So, just on different levels, so like somebody
I will say is
marathon,
like those last 4 miles were probably the longest 4 miles of my entire life.
I would imagine. Now, what was your longest training run for the?
My longest training run, I did a 3-hour run, and then the next day did another 3 hours.
Wow, I can't imagine.
So, and then I ended up running the 50K in 9:21. And
Amazing.
of course, a lot of that was, at mile 5, you have to go up a mountain. And I think I slowed down to about a 25-minute mile because I was climbing straight up. And then instead of taking the easy path down the mountain, they had closed that off because they were doing work on it. So we had to go down kind of a steeper, much more rocky technical path. And so that slowed me down again.
Better story. So that is.
Yeah. So
those
it was
the kind of stories people want to hear when you're talking about an ultra. So.
Oh yeah, it was interesting.
I survived.
Yeah.
That's the story that I present to people. Like because it's hard to fathom even telling a story to like regular runners. I would say regular runners as in like the faster marathon type 10K, 5K, to 50K and over.
Right.
It is a survival mentality, and it's hard to even get that across to the faster crowd. Like, yeah, it's a lot.
That's what I kept saying was, I was like, I just want to get to the end in one piece.
Yeah. My favorite line from your video, Heather, was, how did you say it? It made me laugh. I finished and I lived.
It's right. Same exact thing. Yeah. Yeah. Because how many times during the race were you like, why the hell did I do this?
There were a couple of times where that's when I can tell I'm mentally hitting a wall because I will say out loud, I don't want to do this right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of ups and downs on there. And a lot of times when the negative thoughts and stuff kick in, it's usually nutritionally based to where you're probably low on calories. So your brain is like struggling.
Yeah.
So like that's a good indicator to like, oh, maybe I should either slow down or eat a little bit more. Probably both. You should be doing that anyways, because the rule of thumb for an ultra is to start off slow and then go slower.
Right.
Because once again, you're in there early in the race and you're like, shit, I'm just warming up. I can do this, and then you blow your the wheels off the bus, So, but yeah, usually I run into those issues when it's almost nightmarish to where I'll get like a song stuck in my head. I think we talked about it like one of the earlier ones, like and it's repetitive, like over and over, and at times like it's like stop it, like
For me, it was the last song that I heard as I was leaving the last aid station. That's what gets stuck in my head for the next like 3 or 4 miles.
That's horrible when it's a song you don't even like.
The last race I was in was Into the Thick of It.
Oh my goodness!
Backyardigans. Yeah, it was like a TikTok thing at that time. So going through it's into the thing. I'm like, shut up. And then you're like going into it, and you're like, come on, But I guess it's a good distraction because I'm worrying about like, jabbing a rock into my skull to get the song out, and I'm still moving forward. So, but yeah, that's usually an indicator like your body is in turmoil. Eat, slow down, things like that. So.
Yeah, I know when I got to the turnaround point, my husband was waiting there for me, and I was doing shots of pickle juice, and I had some, I think I had some applesauce at the time, and I picked up a bag of chips, and I started to eat them, and then I handed them to Andy and said, I can't chew right now. It's taking too much mental effort to think about chewing right now. Yeah,
well, at the aid stations, what I like to do, which a lot of people do, is you load up there and you eat what you can, and then you take like a to-go type bag for from that aid station in conjunction with the stuff that you have like restocked. So you have like a to-go bag that you're like, I have to finish this by whatever, and forcing those calories slowly, but like sometimes I know I had a half a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for like 3 miles. You're chewing on one bite and you're like, you got to swallow it. I almost want to just dribble it out of your mouth, but you're like, you got to get it in, dude. You know, and you're just,
Right.
you know, sipping like liquid, just trying to get everything, forcing calories out, because eating is a choice in ultras. That's what the badasses say. Because if you don't eat, especially when your stomach starts turning and stuff like that, like that's when you start to lose it because you're not getting the proper calories in. So you have to like force yourself to eat. So I'm not hungry, but like you still have to get something in there, and you find, you know, your salts or sugars or whatever, and get some type of calorie in there.
Hey Ryan, hello and goodbye. So
Have a good beer.
Yeah.
So that kind of segues to what I was wanting to talk about tonight, and that is what is it that you are learning lately as far as your running goes, and how do you plan on using that? Because that was something else that I brought up in an earlier live stream, was the fact that there were a couple of times where I started to notice a potential struggle coming on during that ultra, and thanks to what I had learned about myself as a runner, I was able to recognize the signs and know what to do about it before it became a bigger problem. Specifically, I was running and noticed that my fingers felt weird, and looked and saw that they were a little bit swollen. And that's when I was like, I've been through this before. I know what I need to do. I switched over to electrolytes. I cut the water and just switched strictly to electrolytes, and made sure that I got salt at the next aid station, and that fixed the problem. And so, you know, every once in a while you learn something, and it kind of carries you through in other areas and other races. So what is it that you have learned recently that that you feel is kind of beneficial to what you plan on doing?
Man, I'd love to jump in. I've got two that immediately.
Yeah, I got it.
Go for it.
Because we actually talked about this on one of our last runs, one of my running partners and I. So awesome.
Well,
go for
it, Paul.
Yeah, sure. So like the first one is very practical, and something that you very briefly mentioned, Heather, a few minutes ago. Pickle juice. Oh man, I was so scared when I ran the Kiowa Island Marathon in the heat back in December. I had like cramping like I had never ever experienced before, like debilitating to the point where I could not run. And so when I went into the Tobacco Road Marathon in March, I did all the research I could to find the best way to deal with that in case it was another hot day. And so I bought like a 12-pack of those little pickle juice shots.
Yeah.
And took 2 with me on the marathon, and I hit it at mile 21, sort of preemptively. I wasn't starting to. I was getting to that tired sort of phase of here comes the wall, maybe if I'm not careful. And I didn't wait. I didn't wait for cramping. I just popped it, took it, and
experience. Yep.
Yeah. Even though the run wasn't ideal, I didn't hit any of my goals. It was a disaster in that sense.
You're still really, so fast, though.
Right. Yeah.
I appreciate it, but yeah, I mean the one good thing that came from it is that like the pickle juice thing, man. I love the fact that like I took that, and then all of sort of that creakiness in my calves was gone for the rest of the race, and it was just amazing. The other thing that I'm learning to overcome, and this I would love to hear what you guys think about this, because I'm dealing with it's not an injury yet. It's a bad niggle that is sort of not allowing me to run every day. I got to run every second day for the last couple of weeks, just to kind of keep things even keel. But learning to overcome motivation. For some reason, the last year, I've been so utterly motivated to push myself hard, and it continues to now. Like if my ankle was doing good, I'd be just cranking miles, and going to the track as often as I could, and just pushing myself to the limit. For some reason, that's the motivated stage that I'm in right now. So, but learning to overcome that with the injury, I think to me is a sign of, dare I say, maturity. And it's so hard. Like, all I want to do is run. And I'm making myself not do it. So I would just love to know how you guys deal with that.
It's interesting because, like, I never want to run more than when I can't run.
Right.
Yeah.
That flows right into like my thing is balance. That's what I learned, and it's you described it as motivation. Same exact thing. TMI on my past this past year, I bought a house and I'm on my own now. So I'm redeveloping me and working on myself personally. But the same thing with balance or motivation. Part of my crazies is I overcompensate and I think really big. That's why I do like these big miles and stuff like that. I was thinking, hey, I want to do 150 to 200 miles like in a run this year. And I had one or two other big plans. And then I got injured. And the way I was building up my game plan for my races this year was I was going to pull back on the mileage a little bit, excuse me, and do a little bit more cross training, a little bit more weights, core, and yoga, because that's preached by everybody. And we all nod our heads and say yes, but 95% of us don't do the proper extras besides just running.
Right.
So I'm learning some very valuable life lessons, personally on my own, and I relate life in general to a race, an ultra race, because it's very parallel in the mentality of it. And I feel that I'm learning balance because now I'm forced to actually do the game plan. And the last month or so, I've been doing weights. I do yoga 5 days a week. Now, when I say yoga, I'm not like some yogi. There's like one or two channels I watch on YouTube, and it's like 10, 15 minutes a day. And sometimes I just target like certain areas that I'm doing. But like, excuse me, I'm seeing, excuse me, I'm seeing such huge results physically and mentally from doing that. And I'm learning to not be so much fire and aggressive on things, to pull back for the balance. And like, I'm doing a lot more hiking now. There's a lot of friends that I'm reconnecting with that know that I am very active, and I'm like, do you want to hike? I'll take you to some cool views. I could bring my dog, and we won't have to go 30 miles on a hike. I just want to get some elevation and get out there. And I'm still getting in. Like this past Sunday, I did 22-mile hike, which was 2,700 feet of gain.
Nice.
And since I'm in Pennsylvania, we had all 4 seasons within that hike. And like it snowed, it was sunny and warm. It was really, really crazy. But that's 22 miles on feet. And I'm sure you understand that, Heather, with time on feet is really big for me, because sometimes I might be 30 some hours like running. So like you want to get that wear and tear mentality. But I'm learning to slow it down. Even with the mileage, like I said, I'm at 40 miles this week already, and I'm taking a rest day. Those miles aren't the way that Paul does them. I guarantee you, like I went from like doing an average, like an 8-minute mile, to now I'm doing like a 10 to 11-minute mile. And I'm still taking like dumbass TikTok videos and shit like that, like slowing down with the dog. And like I'm trying to live a little bit more in the moment.
And like, you're learning to enjoy it.
Yes. It's not just a number game. It is my medication. It is church and religion to me. There's a lot of mental and physical, and I'm learning balance. That's like my mantra for the year. Otherwise, I'm really gonna, break into Lego pieces. I think that's what's the universe is telling me, like, dude, you're slowly catching on fire. Like all your parts are like melting. So like, you gotta, let's get some balance on here. And I'm working up, in January, I was like at 200 pounds, and now I'm at like 180. And like, I'm starting to get like almost a 6-pack. Like I almost have my military body back.
Yay!
Not fully concerned with my look more than the efficiency, but it's still cool to get out of the shower and be like, yeah, rather than damn it, So like there's a lot of, as I said, physical and mental things that are going on, and I'm learning. As Paul was saying, motivation. Mine is balanced because being bipolar, sometimes my motivation is like always at 100%. I'm going to do 200 miles. I might do 500 miles. And then the universe says, no. 100 miles is really good, dude. You could slow down and like just chill a little bit. You don't have to do like 500 miles, So
gotcha. Now, did you find that you said yoga is giving you a lot of benefits, and I assume that meant physical and sort of
yes.
mental.
When I started doing the yoga, my body hurt in a good way more than when I was lifting weights. Like they have you like, here, do this, and then turn slightly, and you're like, what? I have muscles there, and it like, I don't know, it activates. I was so sore. Like I was doing full body workouts with weights, it felt like, but it was a good sore because it's muscles that like I never knew that were fully there. And as a runner, you're probably using like, I don't know anything about the skeletal muscular system, but I might be using, the same 30% muscles all the time. With your cross training or yoga, you're activating 60% more of what you were doing or whatever. So you're working that stuff out, and I'm seeing like it's going into like my strides are my turnover is a little bit better, I noticed, and my strides shorten, which that's what I'm working on as well. Like there's certain benefits that I see that are like working now, and now I'm feeling actual muscles rather than before I was carrying extra weight and stuff. Now I'm starting to feel a little bit more control when I'm running, especially like on trail, and I'm able to activate certain things, and it's so strange to be consciously aware of like what's going on. But I yoga is definitely a big part of it because I don't stretch. When I used to stretch when I was a young adult because I was in martial arts, and like that was like huge.
Right.
But like now, like I just put on my shoes, and that's why it takes like 7 miles or so to warm up. Like if I did do some type of stretching routine, it might be like I might be good at mile 1. Like, oh yeah, my muscles are the way they should be because that's what you're supposed to do. And track and cross country in high school, you stretched and worked out before your meets or like practice and stuff. But
back in my day, we'd do like, they didn't know anything. So we were doing like static stretching before like our 5K,
right.
cross country runs, and wondering why we felt so horrible. So I've got one more question, Brian, and I'll drop this subject.
Oh, no, you can ask me a million questions I'll ramble. So
no, I just want to know, like, since you've taken up yoga and you found that it's strengthened parts of you that, you weren't aware of, are you still able to like, able and willing to lift weights as well? Do you do them in conjunction, or is it just one or the other?
No, I do that as well.
Cool.
So once again, I'm old, just like everybody else, and I have arthritis in pretty much every bone in my body, along with the crazies. So core, like my lower back, I have real bad arthritis in. So the pounding sensation really, sometimes it's tough to get out of a chair, and I feel like I'm 100 years old. So core is like I'm working that into the system, and weights as well, which helps around the core, like a lot of like squatting and things like that. So certain things are like all bundled in. So I have 225-pound dumbbells, and I do exercises with them. Mm-hmm. So a lot of upper body with it, and then it helps like squatting, lunges, and core with those 25-pound dumbbells. And I try to do that twice a week, and I use the yoga to target the areas that are like, holy shit, you ran 50 miles this week, plus you did some weights. Your right leg is really sore, or your lower back, or my shoulders. So then I can target the yoga to help adjust those areas. And I adapt as I go along. As I said, I have generic directional game plans set up for my weekly training. And then depending on what the universe wants to help me with, like, is it a mental struggle to get out of bed? Then it's adjusted a little bit. And I still force myself to do something. And it helps mentally. But like, once again, the game plan is constantly adapting. But yes, weights and yoga, because they'll balance each other in the long run.
That's what I wanted to know, because I'm all about weights. I have been for years. I lift 2 or 3 times a week. But yeah, the yoga has been one of those things I've always wanted to do, and there are other YouTube channels that dedicated yoga channels that I've jumped into some of their workouts, but it hasn't become a habit yet. So I was just wondering if anybody else has balanced that yet.
Yeah, the thing that I was looking at is 10 to 15 minute sessions. So because you could bang out 10 minutes, dude. When you break it down like that, it's only 10 minutes a day. Somehow you have to fit it in and say between 6 and 7 o'clock, no matter what, you got to do 10 minutes worth of work, dude.
Yeah.
And then I set up the YouTube and I do it, and it's like, cool. It's only 10 minutes, but like, I'd rather sit on TikTok for 8 hours and waste that.
That's what I always tell myself. I can do anything for 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my mornings are always started out. I just roll out of bed and do my core routine. So if I just tack on a little bit of yoga to the end of that, then yeah, I'll never know the difference.
Yep,
and hello to everybody that is entering the chat. Hello, we are glad you're here. Kilted Adventurer brings up the point that lifting weights has slowed down my run, but it's transformed my body in positive ways. Have you noticed anything like that, Brian?
No. I think I'm getting, yes, I'm getting stronger. Yes. The reason why I'm lifting weights is my body gets destroyed when I'm running a 19-hour race or a 36-hour race going up a mountain. So I could do the same pace that I'm targeting easier, more efficiently, with the balance of everything. So the weights are making my muscles stronger and more efficient, and I'm still able to do that pace that I'm setting out to do easier, more efficiently.
I will say that one of the best benefits that I've noticed from yoga is the focus on being present and on, focusing on what is your body experiencing right now, what is your body needing right now. And I like what Yoga with Adrienne says. She says this constantly throughout her practice: take what you need and leave what you don't. And that's a big part of yoga practice. It's like not every single move is going to be beneficial to every single practitioner. And so you take what you need from yoga, and whatever is not working in yoga, you don't have to do that. It's just about being present in that moment and knowing what your body needs. And that's something that it's hard. It's hard to be present, especially with, I know I struggle with that because I'm always thinking about what am I doing next? And instead of focusing on what am I feeling and what am I experiencing right now? That's the hard part. Yeah, and yoga kind of forces you to slow down and say, okay, what am I feeling right now?
You bring up a great point, Heather, and this touches on why I'm so interested in yoga beyond the physical improvements that it'll bring, is that presence of mind thing. One thing that so many runners, and you see it all over YouTube, is especially like when you're running and it gets tough, like in a marathon, and I'm sure for hours on end in an ultra marathon. Everybody's first go-to is look for distractions, get some music, do whatever, and what I've found, because I'm no guru, I'm just an old goofball just trying to looking for advantages wherever they may be hiding. But one of the things that I've really found is that go the other way. Don't run from the pain. Get in its face and face it, and just say, no, this is the way it is. Embrace it, and don't run from it. Don't waste all that energy being scared of it. Just welcome it. And the other thing I wanted to say to the Kilted Adventurer is just make sure you're lifting weights after your runs and hikes. If you're a runner or a hiker, that is your main concern. So don't let the weights or any other cross training get in the way of what you prefer to do.
I agree that. I thought you were saying after your run, lift weights. I can't do shit after my runs. I always think like I'll do a yoga session like when I'm in mid run. Oh, I feel great. When I get home, I'm gonna do 100 push-ups, and I'll probably do a yoga routine. I'm gonna make whatever food and whatever. And I get home, I'm like, oh, I get a shower, pass out in the tub, or, and that's it. I don't get any of the extras done. So I have to prioritize like. If you're going to do something, you got to do it now because you got to get running. Like, you should be out the door already, so.
Yep.
And it was interesting during this last race, I think for years, probably the entire time I've ever been a runner, I do try to distract myself because I'll have music, I'll have podcasts and stuff like that. And for some reason, and I mentioned this earlier that if you notice in my video about the 50K, I had these aftershocks on the whole time. The thing is, I never once turned them on.
Right.
I'm not sure why.
Race.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I made that decision. And like I told my husband, all I did was just listen to the sound of my own suffering, and yep. It really kind of changed things, and it really did make me force me to be a lot more present and figure out what do I need right now to get through this next mile, this next set of 5 miles. What do I need to do between now and the next aid station? So it did allow me to kind of focus a little more clearly, and that was something that I really hadn't experienced before, and probably wouldn't have experienced if I hadn't just kind of made this weird last second decision of I'll have these on in case I need them, because I thought if I hit a mental wall and I need something to pull me out of it, then I can listen to something, and I just never actually turned them on. So.
That's awesome.
I use headphones during training at times, podcasts, music to get me pumped up, or just to distract. During races, I've never half marathon. My first half marathon, I was jamming out to some stuff. It was really fun. Had no clue what I was doing. Still probably wouldn't during half marathon. But like longer races, I've especially my stuff is in the mountains and stuff like that and trail. So I'm distracted by the race itself. Usually, like when I'm in race mode, I'm in a different bubble, and normally I don't have crew or pacers because I just rambled like I do now, like to people. So like you could be a chick or a dude, big or small, like hey, how's it going? You're suffering just like I am, and like we're at the same pace, and like let's just talk for a while. And like when you get a running buddy that way, that's the distraction. And then there's times like a couple races I ran like 8 hours by myself in the rain, and it's like holy shit, and you're distracted because you're trying not to die. You really are present because you're doing self checks often, like and then gear checks, and like you're going through mental checklists, and then you're into the thick of it and you're fighting that off at times, like so.
And
there's a whole lot of there's a whole lot of thinking of, okay, this hurts. Why does this hurt, and what can I fix?
And one of the things I think that you guys would just naturally, because when you're running an ultra, that's very often a very technical trail. You're watching where your feet are going, otherwise it's trouble. So that's got to be a great distraction in its own right. So
it is until you're hitting late night in the dark, because then a lot of technical trail, you're already mentally beat up. Then you're looking at a spotlight on the technical train that you're on, and at times, I know personally, going downhill is terrible in ultras, especially like being in Pennsylvania, Rocksylvania, the train is like really technical. So if you're looking like at an elevation profile map, you're like, it's very deceiving. Oh, there's a lot of downhill in these areas. I can make up time, but those downhills are destroying my knees and my hips. And at times I'm sliding down on my ass, like I'm crab crawling or whatever. And
it's all rocks and they're all unstable. And
yeah.
Some of the footage that you took, Heather, was just unbelievable. Like I was like, wow, I knew this was like an ultra, but man, you were really like climbing up through like rocks and stones. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Hi, Pam. Thanks for popping in. Thank you.
Yeah, Paul, you gotta get on the ultra scene, man. Get on the trails.
I know it.
Experience life. Live in the moment.
Yeah, I mean this fall/winter. Well, oh boy. All right,
Add it to the plate.
I want to do it. I really, really want to do it, but I know I still got a chip on my shoulder about this 245 thing. So I'm going to be trying again probably in December. I'm thinking it's getting to a really short list, and I think I'm going to be running the Jacksonville Marathon in Florida, just because it's pancake flat. It's only mid 50s at the start line on usual, so it's not super ideal, but I just can't. First of all, I can't handle the idea of driving 10 hours or getting on a flight forever to run a race. So at least Jacksonville's only like a 5-hour drive from where I live.
Right.
And yeah, after that, I think I'm finally, after all these years, I'm getting really scared after the last 2 marathons that maybe I will never PR again. So
yeah, I was gonna say like do it while you can, especially on the fast stuff, because the
sign up for Boston, and finally run it just so I can say I did it. So
yeah, it's all hard.
Not Monday, but next year.
I think a lot harder for the faster marathon people to keep that consistency throughout their lifetime.
Right.
I think the longer distance races has a longer longevity for like the older crowd as well. So like running slow and far, I think you could transition to that a lot easier than me transitioning into short and fast, because do it while you can.
Yeah.
You know, kind of how I was like, I'm not a fast runner, but I think I run fast enough to go on a trail.
Yeah, that's you definitely like the 50 miler. Like, look at now that you're in the ultra community, you could have your chip on your shoulder and say, 50 miles is just another number. That's all.
Yeah.
50K was just another number. You know, like
it's just kind of like just a couple more walls I have to push through, and
it's the same shitty day that you're running. If you're running a 50K or a 50 miler, you're just running a few more steps. That's all.
I'm sure I'm equally sore and tired at the end of 50 miles as I am at 50K.
Right, but with a better story, you know.
Yeah.
And there's been let's see here, 2 races, 50 milers that I had at Tussey Mountain it's in Penn State area, and it has like 6,000 or 7,000 feet of climb, and it's like a national sanctioned race for 50 milers and stuff. I'm not like I'll ever podium, but there's like a cash prize and stuff. And the 2 separate times I was DFL, which is an honor, which I was helping people finish, but I was dead effing last. And I
but you finished.
Yeah, because everybody was like, I don't want to ruin your race. And I was like, no, man, I just have to finish to get a qualifying time. And then we finished, and that's all that like mattered to me. So like the distance, it's the journey, not the destination. So like 50 miles is just another number. And when you complete that, you'll be like, 100K is just another number. And that's part of the poison and the fun of the whole ultra community is.
That's what happened with road is I did a 5K. Well, maybe I can do a 10K. Okay. Maybe I can do a half marathon.
Exactly. On a grander scale. Yeah. Let me shout out Jen. She's awesome.
Hi, Jen.
She is half of the podcast team with Ryan, who was on earlier. They do a podcast called The Start Line, and they
shout out.
Yeah, they kind of cross.
We like shout outs here.
They kind of cross over from doing the podcast, and they present it on Ryan's channel, Runner's Corner. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out.
And would we consider doing Hood to Coast? I have heard a lot about Hood to Coast. I know whoever does the first leg has to do pretty much all downhill.
What is that? I have no clue.
It is it's a relay.
Okay.
It's a road relay. Yeah.
And how long is it?
Let's see. How long is Hood to Coast? Is that marathon distance, I think, or longer? Something like that.
Hood to Coast Marathon.
Mm-hmm. Bye, Pam. Thank you for showing up. Hope you feel better.
Yep.
There it is. 200 miles. Yeah.
Whoosh.
I'm in.
How many people
Let's
are
do it. I just need you guys to give me a nap.
So you just have to take turns running different legs of it. So
Yeah, that Tussie, that 50 miler that I do is a relay race as well. So the 50 milers, they have a different bib, of course, different color. So then there's people that are running like 3 miles of it or 10 miles of it. And when you pass them by, they basically, everybody stops and bows down like, hey, because, and it is a huge honor, but you're like, I'm dying. Don't tell me like I'm super awesome. Like I'm like really trying to, like, I'm passing out. I'm not a superhero.
like I'm dying inside.
Yeah, but it's really cool to see the relay people, because you might be at mile 42 and some dude or chick flies by you, and you're like, man, you go get it, and you're like, you're awesome, because they can see your bib and stuff, but it's a good motivator though.
That's funny. That's the same thing that happened to me on the last marathon that I ran. The second half of the marathon shares space with the half marathon. So every once in a while I'd be going, okay, I'm kind of close to pace. Just stay strong. And then somebody would just freaking fly past me. And I'd be like, that better be a half marathon.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point as well, that run your own race, no matter marathon or ultra, because there's been several times that I'm following somebody that I had something in common with, that I was running their race, and it was maybe a little bit faster than I should be going with, or I just want to be alone, or you're trying to pick people off too early, like in a race mentality, when you should be thinking of what your game plan is and staying disciplined. Because I would say 90% of the races, it's always like, I could catch that dude, like I could, and you're pushing, and then you're slowing down, then you're pushing, instead of like staying consistent and stuff like that. And
if I see someone go flying past me, and I'm just like, they're having a good day.
Yeah, Jen said that 200-mile race, and it's 8 to 12 on a team. The three of us could definitely do it. Set it up. I mean, I'll run 125 miles, and you guys figure out the 75 miles other than that. And Paul could run and catch up for different parts of the race. Like he could run really fast.
I will say that doing a Ragnar is definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah, I've never done one of those. I would like to do something like that. Especially
like the one they do in Kentucky. That's the Bourbon Chase.
Oh yeah.
Where you
do you run with a bottle of bourbon?
You run through bourbon country, and you get bourbon at the end.
Yeah. Have you guys ever done? Did you do any shots or drink on your ultra, Heather? Paul, I'm sure you don't do them during marathons.
I did during Little Rock Marathon.
Yeah.
But no, not during this one, because I know they had some on the way out, and I was like, man, I was like, it's 8 a.m. I can't really justify doing this at 8 a.m. But I was like, on the way back, I was just so focused on get to the finish line, don't stop.
Right. Now I've drank. There's been like 2 races I drank maybe like a random beer, like mile 62. Like, oh, you want a beer? And it's like, I'll take a beer. Just shotgun a beer. And Fireball is like, for some reason, like huge at like ultras, which is
they had Fireball. Yeah.
Which is disgusting, but like that's the poison. I've had that in college, like, drink whatever is given to me, but like on race, doing shots probably isn't, recommended. But if you're dumb and they're out there, you're like, peer pressure, sure, I'll do it. Yeah.
A friend of mine in Texas told me about a trail race that I need to come and do, because it's near where she lives. But she said you start at the bottom of a mountain, you run up to the top, and you eat a chili pepper. Then you run down and have a shot of Fireball. and that's the race.
Boy,
That sounds
I bet you,
sounds like pledging.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was thinking about how much your legs hurt when you're after you get that pepper in you. Wow, that's
Mhm.
awesome. That's kind of might be a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we did
one of
something
the
like that in
runners,
college.
oh yeah, one of the
Yeah.
runners this weekend told me about a race that I hadn't heard of that I'm going to have to check out. But there's a brewery that's been here in the Central Arkansas area for years and years and years, and they have a race apparently that starts and ends at the brewery, and then you get free all you can drink beer at the end. So I'm like, okay, hadn't heard
Sign
of
me up.
that, but I'll check it out.
As long as you got somebody to drive you home, you're good.
Mhm.
And I know Pennsylvania races, most of them have like some type of microbrewery or something attached to the race.
Mhm.
So like at the end, there's usually free flowing IPAs or whatever. And like I being like an alcoholic, which, you know, I drink maybe like 5 beers a year now, but before it was really, really bad at the races, like it's acceptable for me. Like shit, I'll drink whatever is there. And if I drink one of them, especially after running for like 1,000,000 hours, like instant buzz, you're already partying and happy because you're alive, you know?
Yeah.
So having a beer or two is like, and I usually can't drive home anyways after like 100K. And if I drove myself there, I usually pass out in the car and until like I could be functionable to get to wherever I need to be. So
Yeah. Oh, there's nothing like having to drive home after even a marathon. It's just the worst thing in the world.
yeah. I usually drive to the race, and I know 2 separate races. I drove to the starting line the night before, and I slept in the car and had like six alarms and stuff like that. So like wake up and everything's cracking, like, you know, maybe that's when you stretch out, you know.
I know Ultra Trail Steven has a thing that they've set up in the back of their van so that he and his wife can just drive to a race and they can sleep on a mattress, and all of his gear and everything is stowed in tubs underneath it. So that's what they do. Like, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I have when my wife and kids went to a few of my first ultras, and then they said F this because it's too boring for them. But like I have like plastic tubs like with drawers and stuff like that, and each drawer is labeled. One has like all my medical stuff like tape, ace bandages, lube. Then I have a drawer of like nutrition, like just crap, like all my apple sauces and stupid shit like that for them as an easy grab. And then another one is like for like socks and change of clothing. So it's easily accessible to where like she'll be like, oh, what do you need? I'll be like, I need new socks and I need like 2 more to fill up my pack on this and whatever. And just open drawers and hand and switch things out. And it's like well organized. A lot of things in like Ziploc bags for being waterproof and markered and labeled. You put in way too much time and prep and probably don't even look at any of it, you know.
Right.
But it's organized and well, and at times you just keep it for the next race, you know.
But if I need it, then it's there.
Yep.
It's funny. I was talking to I don't mean to name drop, but you guys know Tim Gross, the runner from over in the UK. Yeah, I was talking to him for a subscriber spotlight, and he was telling me this one story about you know, he can't drive people around in his car because the entire back seat, he's got a minimum at any given time of 15 different pairs of shoes, because he says, well, I got to be ready. What if I have to run an 800 meter? And what if I have to go, 50 miles? I got to be ready.
Yeah, I have a milk crate in the back of my car, and it's my like running emergency kit. I have a Paratrail, Pararoad. I have a Ziploc bag with socks. I have with toes, without toes, and I have like 2 or 3 other things in there, plus like blanket and stuff like that for the winter. But I have it all like in a little milk crate, so like it's, you know, easy slide in and slide out. Because there's been many times that I've been over a friend's house and they're like, "Yo, you want to go running?" And I'm like, "What?" You know, and I have boots on or something. You know, like the first time I actually don't wear shorts and sneakers, and I'm unprepared. So like now I'm prepared.
There you go.
Always good to be prepared.
I talk a lot. No, that's actually a lot of my friends, running friends, do that. They're always are way overly prepared, and I'm not.
Mhm.
So like, I've ended up doing a mini version of the people that are OCD that are like hardcore into it. So yeah.
So Paul, what is your next step as far as preparing for your mile time trial?
Well, if I can manage to make this ankle play nice, next week will be scarily enough that my first trip to the track. I've been spending the last couple of weeks just kind of. I started with strides, and then I started doing tempo runs, and and sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Progression runs on my long runs, and just kind of trying to get my body, just kind of gauging it, just to see, am I ready? Can I take the stress of being on the track? Because once you hit the track, it's like
Then it's real.
Snap pretty quick. So we'll see. I expect if I can do it, if I manage it next week, next Tuesday or Wednesday at the track, then it'll be like 4 or 5 weeks of hammering myself to see if I can do that and lose all the Taco Bell weight that I've put on since the marathon. And we'll see. I'll be shooting for a 5-minute mile. I don't think there's any chance of getting to 5 minutes, but if I can even take a second or two off my mile PR, then I'm happy, and it kind of sets me up for, what really has got me juiced up, which is, November, December, going after that 245 again. I'm kind of like just a one-track mind on that right now. So that's me in a nutshell.
If you want to get back at yourself in a funny manner, make your own Taco Bell, but in a more healthy manner.
That's a great idea.
Healthy Taco Bell.
Yeah, because like I do a lot of wraps because they're super easy. So I get like chicken and shred it up and stuff like that, and I throw them in containers, and then like your spinach or whatever, like, and I load up on my proteins, slice up tomatoes and onions or whatever, and then you make my own like chipotle type stuff, similar to Taco Bell or rice or whatever you want to put in there, but like say, all right, I'll still do Taco Bell, but I'm going to do it my way, and then I don't know.
I got to say thanks to my wife, because she actually tonight, right before we got on the live stream tonight, I was like, I got to eat. We're supposed to be on in 20 minutes. So I fridge door flies open, and she had bought me like a bag of like cabbage salad. And then we had an entire bowl of pre-cooked chicken breasts. So it was just like, boom, boom. I ate and ran up here. It was awesome. So I just need to do more of that. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. Food.
Yeah, making the bowls and stuff, totally cool. Because I used to do that when I'd take stuff to work back when I was working. I'd make bowls of stuff, but then I transitioned to creating Japanese bento boxes and making like little characters and cartoons and stuff out of my food. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I do a lot of food stuff. When I go shopping right now, my nutrition is tailored more towards like just recognizing putting more protein into me, not breaking it down by like, a cup of this and a cup of that. I'm just recognizing like I need to put more protein, and then I have shakes that I throw in like scoops of protein and stuff like that, because I part of my body breaking is I'm definitely not getting the resources back into repair itself. And like you should be eating your weight in protein grams. So like getting 180 grams of protein, it probably won't happen daily for me, but like at least if I'm more consciously aware of it, I could tailor my meals towards it, and I prep for the week. And
you make a great point, sir. I think there's no it's not a coincidence that the second I started eating Taco Bell, I hurt my ankle. So
yeah, which once again, you could still love that food, but make it your own way.
Moderation.
Well, that as well. Yeah,
moderation don't go when it comes to eating. That's the one thing I have no control over.
But fast food stuff, though, it's once again, it's chemically altered. Most of that stuff or whatever. That's my
Yeah.
And it's probably destroying you, but it tastes so good. So make that same good shit, but like with your own stuff,
Yeah.
Sir.
just compliment your wife and say that how well she makes it and have her make it.
There's always healthy swap options. So.
Sorry, Pam.
She's
Well,
watching,
all
she'll be
right.
back.
It has been an hour already, so we're going to start wrapping things up. So, Rosser, if you would tell everybody where they can find you and what you've got coming up next.
Yeah. Let's see, coming up next on the YouTubes, it'll be got some vlogs, some gear reviews. I have like 3 or 4 different. Got some a new ASICs, Nimbus. I'm testing out now. So we got that and my 100K training series for World's End in June, which is 50-some days away. And then, as I said, I'm pretty active on TikTok. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm an old guy that goes on TikTok. But like I do that. And on Instagram, I take 1 million photos. That's another meditative thing for me. So, but yeah, that's it. A couple series on YouTube's, TikToks, and I run far.
All right. Paul, tell them where they can find you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm a dev runner on YouTube. I'm at the dev runner on Instagram. I am Paul DeVillo on Strava. There is also, I always forget to shout this out, there is also a Dev Runner Run Club on Strava now. So if you want to hang out with like-minded runners, please join. I'd love to have you. As far as what I'm doing coming up on my YouTube channel, I'm going to be getting sort of back into the stream of presenting a lot more subscriber spotlights so that people can get to know other members of the community in YouTube. And finally, I have to shout this out. After literally months of people asking for this and me saying, yeah, next week, if this is really going to happen next week now, because I filmed it today. So I am presenting a comprehensive weightlifting workout routine for endurance runners. And it's not, I've sort of taken a routine that is proven with over 40 years of real world proof and tweaked it a little bit so that it works for runners. But let me just hold this up. This always cracks me up. Arnold Schwarzenegger. So
old school Arnold.
Yeah, old school. Yeah, I've been using this book since I was like 17 years old. It's never failed me when it comes to weightlifting.
Will you be wearing the same outfit as he's wearing in your video?
I aspire to it one day. But yeah, that's it for me. So exciting for me to finally push that video out. I'm looking forward to getting it out there.
It's awesome.
All right. And once again, I'm Heather, also known as Running Geek Girl, which you can find me under the name Running Geek Girl here on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. So easy to remember. It's the same thing for everything. And coming up on the channel, I've got an app review. I have a metal and virtual kit unboxing. I have some more of the Run the USA series that is coming up. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that you are subscribed. If you haven't done that already, it doesn't cost you anything. Just hit that subscribe button and you can stay up to date on everything that I have coming up on the channel. Make sure that you follow these guys as well. All of their information is going to be down in the description so that you can find them on YouTube, and be sure to look them up on social media as well. I want to thank everybody for contributing to the chat tonight. I want to thank everybody who's going to be watching the replay later. We thank you for taking the time to just come and hang out with us. And I want to thank you guys for being here tonight and streaming with me. So we will be back again next month, and this time it will be on Brian's channel.
All right. Please send me a reminder.
I will. So I believe first Thursday of the month, unless something comes up, in which case we'll let you guys know when and where you can find us. But be sure to join us again for more running talk, and that'll do it for us. So thank you, everybody, for being here, and good night.
Have a good one, everybody.
Thank you.